We missed one discussion, the one the week before, not the one that there was knots, but the one where Carmen asked her question about the intermediate state. So that one, because we were having our discussion in Saigon, so we didn't translate that one, but I listened to that one, and it was very interesting. And the discussion that followed that Carmen brought up on this SG also, very, very good.
That's wonderful that you're so interested to follow them all and share with everyone on it.
Yes, I think there were many points that were very useful for everyone to hear, and especially in Vietnam, all the points.
Similar ideas.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, let's see. Achan is there.
Yes, สวัสดีค่ะ everyone.
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
Sawadika, Achan.
Yeah, let me ask if anyone has any question. Dạ, con xin hỏi cả nhà. Cả nhà mình có câu hỏi gì không ạ? Mọi người có nghe được chị không nhỉ? Mọi người ở bên phòng Việt Nam á, phòng Việt Nam mọi người nghe được không nhỉ?
Nghe được chị ạ.
Okay.
Nghe được chị ạ.
Dạ. Trong pháp đàm mình có ai có câu hỏi muốn đưa ra cho pháp đàm cùng thảo luận không ạ? It always takes some time for friends to come up with their question. So I just thought that, the last time when we were having the discussion with Lian, it was very good. You talked about fullness of wishes and contentment. And usually we think about that in terms of story, like, okay, the monks have a life of fullness of wishes and contentment, and this person or that person have less wish than others. And that day, Achan pointed out that if it's not kusala, then it cannot be said to be contented. And Sarah also talked about that, to be contented with whatever is now, because it's already gone. So I think it's good to, if we can hear more about it.
Because someone may think if they're living in the forest without any possessions and not surrounded by friends and household objects, that this shows the fewness of wishes. But what about if now one's clinging to getting a certain result, trying so hard to experience or be aware of a certain object? It's the opposite. So it comes down to the hita at this moment, not the outer appearance at all. So the point, as you mentioned, that we stressed is, what about what appears now, the visible object now, the doubt now, the sound now, the annoyance now? What about understanding with contentment what is conditioned right at this very moment, no matter what the dress is, no matter where we're living, no matter what the circumstances? It has to come back to this very moment, learning to be content with whatever is conditioned. In the discussion this morning, a friend mentioned she got COVID in Nepal, and but what about when one's feeling sick? What about when there's sleepiness? What about being content at that moment? Because it's conditioned, it can't be any other way. When there's wishing for another object, wishing to have understanding, wishing to be a good person, no contentment at all. And someone mentioned or asked about fear of death, but it shows what there is the clinging to me, clinging to what will happen, that conditions that fear. But if there's understanding now of seeing, understanding of what is seen now, at those moments there is contentment, no fear at those moments. So what about now? Is there contentment with what is conditioned, or wishing for another object to experience, wishing to understand, wishing to taste a particular object, wishing to see a particular object? So always back to this moment. And this is the test of whether there is understanding, whether there is contentment here and now.
Yes, I think that's really good point to point out that wanting another object, like even breath or seeing or hearing, is already not the moment of content. I think that usually
says any idea of selecting a particular object, like breath or metta or concentration on any idea at all, foulness of the body, for example, which we discussed before. It's the opposite of contentment, because the wishing, the trying, the wanting is there, but not realized. So it's the opposite of letting go at those moments. Only when there is understanding, there is letting go and contentment with what is conditioned here and now.
However, we find that the life of the bhikkhu is usually described as a life of fullness of wishes and contentment. Is that because normally a monk has developed a lot of understanding, and because of that understanding, it's supposedly to be that way? Or how would you explain that the life of a monk is described in that way?
We have to think about what is the true meaning of bhikkhu. So the bhikkhu is not just the one who puts on robes and follows a large number of precepts, but the true bhikkhu is the one that develops the path, that develops satipatthana, who develops fewness of wishes, who is content with whatever is conditioned through the development of understanding. If it's the one who lives a life full of clinging and dissatisfaction and lack of understanding, is it really a bhikkhu as taught by the Buddha? So in the deepest sense, the Buddha said the bhikkhu is anyone, lay follower or the one in robes, that follows the path. This is the deepest meaning of bhikkhu.
And in terms just of the order of monks, if that comment is applied to the ordained bhikkhu as opposed to the unordained person, I think the fewness of wishes is a reference to the fact that if the bhikkhu's life is to be led with kusala, there has to be naturally fewness of wishes more in the conventional sense, because obviously the bhikkhu doesn't own much, doesn't have much, and eats what he is given, and generally observes quite a number of precepts, of course. So in that respect, the bhikkhu's life the monk's life properly lived is one of universal wishes.
John and Sarah, that's wonderful too. Don't know if Achan would like to add some comments.
At moment of thinking about contentment, is there interest with attachment or just no attachment, only interest there? Because Dhamma is so very subtle. We think that we can talk about this and that, about the truth of it, but what is there at that very moment is not known. That is it what we are talking about. For example, contentment. See, we just talk about it, but at that moment, is there contentment or not? That's why it is so subtle to understand that we learn about reality to understand that which is there right now. But we think about other things and be interested in understanding the nature of it and so on. But in truth, it's just for letting go the idea of self, wanting unknowingly about contentment. So we talk about it unknowingly, but understanding that all dhammas are anatta, not self, and how to understand each different dhamma as it is, as itself, even contentment. It's there unknown until we are taught about how much attachment, ignorance is there. Even it can be attached to contentment too, with ignorance, because that's not yet understanding the nature of contentment as just a reality until it's known. That's why we talk about it, that usually in a day there are moments of attachment, and when it's less and less, at moments being less until it is not there. See, the moment of being content, of contentment, not content with attachment, which is not the understanding of the truth at that moment. That's why the understanding of the truth has to be so very firm, confidence of what is there now is not known as it is yet at all. Understand each word of the teachings about different levels of understanding. If we don't talk about understanding what is there to be known, not the past or the future, but it's that at any moment when it appears. So it depends on whether it appears or not. We talk about different realities, akusala dhammas and akusala dhammas. But what is there? Kusala or akusala? No need to try to find out. But the truth is that no matter what is there, it does not appear well yet, because it's just thinking about it. And learn to understand that without intellectual understanding firm enough, how can there be the moment of directly understanding the truth of what is there, directly, little by little? And this is very important too, not just the word, different levels of understanding, intellectual, pariyatti, of what is there. But what about patipatti? See, if there's no understanding of this moment that is the way to let go ignorance and attachment to even contentment, there cannot be moment of directly understand what is there right now. See, that's why understanding the truth of each reality as it is, that they are dhammas, whatever is now appearing, Even the characteristic of that which is not self is not known because no understanding of the truth of what is there. For example, seeing right now, just know, understanding, just intellectually. It's not I, it's a moment of that which arises and experiences, but it's not moment of careful considering or attending wisely to the characteristic which experiences. So understanding even the difference between the five doorways and the sixth one. Is the sixth one different from the five? Even it's there now, we learn about it, but it's not known yet. That's why how long will it take times to develop right understanding, just understanding a little more of that which is now appearing by different manners, different aspects. Even it is ayatana or Ariya Satya and so on. It's there to be known, but it's not time yet because right understanding is not strong enough. It's not keen enough to begin, just to begin to attend to the characteristic which now sees. See, just the word, it experiences, just be the way it's understood as it now that there is a reality arising, experiencing the object. It can be repeated again and again, but is that the moment of beginning to attend wisely that is so very difficult to understand the difference between the reality which experiences and that which is experienced, because not enough understanding to attend, even attending to the characteristic of that which is there. It has to be conditioned unknowingly, gradually, until it's there, even beginning to attend to the characteristic which now experiences the object through any doorway, the same that which arises and experiences different objects at different moments. And it doesn't matter at all because understanding that what's meant by contentment, kusala or akusala, or is just what we take for contentment because it's less attachment and ignorance, stage by stage. So consider it again and again, conditioned moment of considering it, even when there's no hearing about it. But it's time to think just of what is heard, not just what has been heard in life long time ago as something, someone. So what is now is known, it's not known yet, but one day, we don't know when, unexpectedly, it's there, beginning to understand the reality which is there, no matter it's hardness or visible object or hearing, unexpectedly, just like now. The next moment is unexpectedly arise by conditions. And this is the only way. It takes how much patience, effort, truthfulness, everything to understand the truth gradually from moment to moment until it conditions such moment of understanding a little more. Is that right? Is there other way?
No other way.
Not at all. Barami, firm barami of Satya barami, Adidana barami, Nekama barami, Viriya barami, Kanti barami. Each
Yes.
life is the accumulation and development of understanding so very gradually, unknown, until it's there, known. That it's conditioned to be that moment of understanding a little more. Even a little more, it takes for a long, long time. Who knows about the accumulation of ignorance and attachment?
And it's such a relief when there is the appreciation that there's no other way, no need to look, to search, to try out this or that, or find different methods or practices, or go to a different place, because the truth is here and now, the world is here and now. So there can be understanding and contentment with just what is conditioned. No need to look.
And we can see that it all comes down to the development of understanding of what appears now. Whatever we see or we read in the text, it all comes down to the understanding of what is now. And you can see that it's so precious, so precious.
And it was a good comment that Ajahn started with, that even now when thinking of contentment or thinking of fewness of wishes, what is the citta? Is there interest with attachment, curiosity, or just kusala interest with understanding? So it's always back to this moment. What is the citta now, no matter what the topic?
Yes.
And the test can only be now.
So we can read the text and understand a little more. Otherwise, without discussion about it, how can there be a little more while one is reading about contentment?
If one thinks of contentment at another time, another place, another situation, another way of being dressed, different rules to follow, then it shows no understanding at all now of what is conditioned. Because one's just dreaming about contentment or a different lifestyle, but not understanding what is here and now, what is conditioned to appear now.
I think that when we listen carefully, we can see that it all comes down to understanding the truth of this moment. But because there's so little understanding this moment, keep forgetting, and it's all the time other thinkings. But that's what it is. But I think that gives rise to so many doubts when there's not enough consideration. I asked Sister Tang, because she was the one who first raised this topic of contentment and fullness of wishes, whether she has anything to ask further. Dạ, con xin chào cô Trúc Thanh. Vì là cái chủ đề này cũng là chủ đề mà đầu tiên cô có đưa ra.
Dạ, chào chị.
Nên là sau cái buổi mình cùng được thêm thì không biết là cô có câu hỏi nào không, hoặc cô có chia sẻ suy nghĩ gì của mình sau những gì đã được nghe không ạ?
Chị có thể gợi ý câu hỏi về cái hoài nghi á chị, như thế nào chị?
Về hoài nghi, cô muốn hỏi về hoài nghi đúng không ạ? Thì tức là về cái phần tri túc và sử dụng tri túc này thì cô đã không còn muốn phát biểu gì thêm đúng không ạ? Cô bây giờ cô muốn biết thêm về hoài nghi đúng không ạ? Dạ con chưa nghe được cô ạ. Cô có đang nói gì không ạ? Con không nghe được.
Chị Tâm Mạch có thể gợi ý hỏi giúp hay là cho Thanh cái câu hỏi về hoài nghi như thế nào với chị?
Dạ, tức là không có điểm nào muốn nói thêm về chủ đề thể dục tri túc nữa đúng không ạ? She said that now she'd like to have more understanding about doubt.
Is it not there now? What moment is not doubt?
Dạ chưa,
Is
xin
it not now?
khi không có hiểu biết
Không có hiểu biết đúng không ạ? Ý của cô là thế đúng không? Cô có thể ngồi sát cái máy được một chút được không ạ? Vì nghe nó không được rõ âm thanh lắm ạ. Con không biết cô Thanh có nghe được con nói không nhỉ? Có phải cô nói là khi không có hiểu biết có phải không ạ? Tại có cảm giác cô không nghe được chị nói chút nào luôn đấy. Cũng không thấy cô có. Cô Trúc Thanh có nghe được con nói không ạ? Có phải cô hỏi là khi không cô trả lời A Chan là khi không có hiểu biết có phải không?
Dạ đúng chị.
She said that when there's no understanding, there's doubt.
Is it not now?
Dạ.
So it's not known as just it's a reality. That's why many realities arise together, unknown at all. Just take it for something. I doubt. See, I doubt. But at that moment, doubt is there by conditions. When there's the understanding of the truth that actually it's not anyone at all because it's doubt. It's not seeing right now. It's not hearing. It's not thinking. That's why learn to understand what is there right then, that it's real. It's just a reality. It's not just want to know the characteristic of it because it's there gone, but understanding that the moment of doubt is not moment of seeing, hearing. So when it's there, it's just a reality which arises, experience the object with doubt right now. Doubt about seeing, isn't it there? So it is that which is there, doubt. Learn to understand doubt as a reality, not I, not seeing, not thinking. Is it true? little by little, just to understand where is doubt to be known. It's there. When it's there, a reality, a reality, a reality. Learn to understand the characteristic which appears as it is. No need to try to say it's a reality or it experiences the object with doubt. Right now, doubt of seeing, see, not understanding what is there in the moment appearing, while there are other realities together, but they do not appear. Only just one reality appears. For example, what appears, what is there with doubt, or what are there with doubt. See, we learn little by little to begin to understand the intellectual, the conventional word or term to understand the reality just right now. Doubt is there at moment of no understanding of seeing. Sometimes there's doubt, sometimes there's no doubt, but no understanding of seeing. Is that true? Just learn about the truth in life, little by little, to be accustomed, familiar to the reality, to the nature of that which is there in a day. But not trying to pick out anyone to be known at all. It's there gone. But when it's there different from other reality. For example, there is doubt and there's seeing and then there is thinking in a moment, one by one, appearing. That's why no selection at all. When will the moment of thinking, attending to the characteristic of that will begin by itself, by conditions, to be understood, that is moment of attending to the nature of doubt or of seeing or what is there as it is, little by little. Because they are so true from moment to moment, but they are not known until they are object of listening carefully, little by little. Condition moment of beginning to understand what is there. It's just in a moment and then gone. Even it's just learning and thinking, but it's so useful. Without moment of hearing, considering, how can there be a little more developing understanding of no one there at all? At that moment it's less just unknowing how much it is. So very little moment of being less ignorant and attachment, gradually unknown, as it has been accumulated how long ago, years and years ago, the same moment like now, from moment to moment. Is there doubt at moment of understanding? See, different ones again, different reality. So, doubt is there when there's no understanding. And it depends on whether there's no doubt to appear to be known that there is doubt. It's only ignorance and attachment, but not doubt. Or it is ignorance with doubt. So many realities conditioned to arise and false way, never to return at all. Sunyata. Anatta. From moment to moment, to be from life to life, to be eons to eons, by conditions. As long as there are conditions, there must be that which has arisen by conditions. Like now, it's what we are talking about. All about what we are talking about. And it develops unknowingly by itself. No need to try, no need to know,
Chị ơi, có đang nói không chị?
no need to hurry. Because what for? No understanding, hurry to have more ignorance.
And to add a little more about doubt, we're not talking about doubt about what the weather will be like tomorrow, or doubt about what will be served for lunch today, which conventionally we may call doubt. We're talking about doubt about what is true, what is real now. So whenever any akusala chitta arises, ignorance is there. It may be ignorance with attachment, or ignorance with aversion, or ignorance without attachment or aversion. Doubt only arises with the ignorance without attachment, without aversion, just ignorance, not knowing. And of these kinds of ignorance, there are two kinds. One is the ignorance without doubt, and one is ignorance with doubt. So it's just the reality that arises with many moments of ignorance, but not all moments of ignorance, doubting about what is seen now, what is heard now, what is true now. And the Sotapanna has no more doubt, because no more wrong understanding at all. So without any wrong understanding, no conditions for doubt about what is true now. So it has to be there until the understanding has developed to that degree. And it's common, so it can be understood when it appears, not self, just a Dhamma arising and falling away with ignorance because of lack of understanding at that moment. So now there may be doubt about what is heard, doubt whether it's true that this is doubt, doubt about what seeing is, doubt about what hearing is. It's been accumulated, and whenever it arises, it continues to accumulate. There is the habit of not understanding, and not understanding with doubt, very deeply rooted. So only when the habit of understanding develops. I think last time we talked about Gotra and Upanishya Gotra, there has to be the development of the habit of understanding what is real, what is true. And this has to develop on and on. It's the only way that doubt will eventually be eradicated. And when there is wishing not to have doubt because one doesn't like it, then what kind of chitta is it? It's just more clinging with ignorance. No contentment at those moments. So if doubt appears, that's what is conditioned to appear, and it can be known here and now.
The other day, Sister Tang also mentioned already about this topic, and she asked about something that she read in the book Chittasikas, and it said that doubt is an obstacle to dana, sila, and bhavana, and she would like to hear more about elaboration. What does that mean?
At moments of doubt, is there any giving? Is there any kusala of any kind? Is there any understanding? So moments of any ignorance, no dana, no sila, no bhavana, That's why we cannot measure by the outer appearance, like when making an offering. What about the moments of doubt? What about the moments of ignorance at those times? No dana at those moments. But it can be an object of understanding. In this way, it's not an obstacle because it can be understood for the development of the path. Any reality can be understood. And it's easy to see when the understanding is not firm and the confidence is not firm, and we wonder whether this is the right way or whether we should listen to other teachers or go to other places. Lots and lots of doubt. But the firmer the understanding, less conditioned for doubt. If there's confidence that the giving is good and right, no doubt, one just gives. If there's confidence that kindness, metta, is so useful, one just shows kindness and friendliness, no doubt at those moments.
And I'm just noticing that in the Atasalini, it is said that doubt should be regarded as a danger to attainment. And this is perhaps the reference that our friend was mentioning, a danger to attainment. So when there is doubt, one is not sure about realities. And so there cannot be the development of understanding of realities. The mind wavers, turns from one thing to another, is not steady.
Con mời cô Trúc Thanh ạ. Cô định nói gì đấy?
Dạ, xin cảm ơn bà Sarah và ông Trơn. Thì lúc hồi nãy á, bà Sarah có nói về cái hoài nghi mà sinh khởi với lại vô minh, hoài nghi sinh khởi với vô minh và hoài nghi sinh khởi với không vô minh. Thì hoài nghi sinh khởi với vô minh á, là phải bậc thánh A La Hán mới tận diệt không? Còn như vào trừ lưu thì vẫn còn phiền não, thì vẫn còn vô minh với vẫn cái mức độ của phiền não. Còn như mức độ bình thường của mình ở đây là vô minh, hoài nghi sinh khởi với vô minh là do có trí, không có trí để nó hiểu về các thực tại không ạ? Không biết con hiểu vậy có chính xác không?
Cô bởi vì là hoài nghi thì phải được tận diệt rồi, chỉ có si vận vô minh thì bậc A La Hán mới được tận diệt. Tức là có hai loại tâm căn si đúng không ạ? Căn si hợp với hoài nghi và si với phóng dật, thì cái loại tâm si hợp với hoài nghi này nó được tận diệt nơi bậc thánh Cự Lưu. Còn cái si hợp với phóng dật thì chỉ được tận diệt ở nơi bậc A La Hán. Đấy là cái bản chất thì phải là như vậy. Còn con chưa rõ cái ý mà cô muốn hỏi đây là gì ạ?
Do you wish to have less doubt?
Không chị.
No.
Perhaps sometimes I think we all sometimes would like
Không
less
có mong đâu
doubt
ạ.
or less confusion. So it can be understood to different moments of doubt, moments of wishing to have less, moments of contentment, different realities at different moments, or anatta.
Doubts are more likely to arise when we are having a discussion like this, because in our daily life we don't think often about the realities or whether there's the Buddha or Dhamma. So
whether it's true that it's just seeing that sees and so on. Yes.
And I think similarly for wrong view, it's more likely to arise when one is thinking about the reality of things, trying to work it out somehow.
That asava, it arises. Asava.
We could also say it's more apparent. So the attachment is more apparent, or the wrong view is more apparent because we're discussing it at other times in the day, going about our daily business just with ignorance and taking this and that for something and someone all the time, very little understanding.
Yeah, actually, before she was asking a question, but I didn't understand her question properly, so I would invite her to ask her question again. Con mời cô có thể hỏi lại câu hỏi được không?
Cái ý hồi nãy hỏi lại hả chị?
Vì con chưa hiểu.
Dạ thì là bà Sarah có nói là có hai cái hoài nghi nó sinh khởi, là sinh khởi với lại vô minh, hoài nghi sinh khởi với vô minh và hoài nghi không sinh khởi với vô minh.
Không phải
đó,
vậy.
Thì Thanh nghĩ là bà mới giải thích là hoài nghi mà sinh khởi với vô minh là phải là của bậc thánh dự lưu, thì có phải là tới bậc A La Hán mới tận diệt được hay không? Tại vì những bậc thánh dự lưu thì còn những mức độ của phiền não chưa tận diệt được, còn với của mình thì cái mức độ hoài nghi với vô minh đó thì nó sinh khởi thường xuyên, là do không có trí để hiểu về các khoảng khắc của các thực tại á.
Nhưng mà bà không có nói vậy cô ạ. Tại vì là chỉ có cái loại si, cái hoài nghi thì chỉ sinh khởi với si và chỉ có một loại đó thôi, chứ còn không phải là. Because I think there was a confusion about what you said before. So just try to say to her that that was a misunderstanding. Con không nghe được cô đang không.
Yeah.
Because she said that she understood that you had there kinds of doubts. The doubts that arise with moha and another kind of doubt.
So there are two kinds of moha, ignorance, that arise without attachment, without aversion, just ignorance. One kind of ignorance without attachment or aversion, moha mula, chitta, arises with doubt, vichikicha, and one kind of ignorance, moha mula, chitta, arises without doubt. So when ignorance arises, it doesn't mean doubt is always there. Sometimes it's there and it's apparent. Sometimes it's not there. But it only arises with those moha mula chittas.
Dạ. Cảm ơn, con đã hiểu.
Is that all right? Is that clear? Yes.
Dạ. Thì qua cái này thì con có liên hệ đến một cái suy nghĩ là về cái hay nói là cái vô minh và tham ái là cái gốc rễ của mọi thứ phiền não, là cũng gọi là cái thức ăn của vòng sanh tử luân hồi. Vậy thì con có thể hiểu là cái thức ăn á, bản chất của cái thức ăn là cái gốc rễ của tham ái. Tại vì mình thích thú ăn ngon, rồi tìm những cái thức ăn mà nó phù hợp với mình để mình thọ hỷ trong đó, tâm tham thọ hỷ, thì có phải là cái thức ăn là gốc rễ của tham ái, thì những cái đối tượng của tham ái mà khi nó sanh khởi vậy thì nó là cái sự hiểm họa. Và con muốn biết ở đây là cái mối liên hệ giữa cái vật thực dưỡng chất đó và cái đối tượng ngũ dục của tham ái đó nó có cái sự tương tác liên quan gì với nhau không ạ?
Ý cô nói thức ăn ở đây là thực phẩm, thức ăn hàng ngày ấy ạ, hay là thức ăn theo nghĩa theo nghĩa trừu tượng hơn?
Tâm ơi, nói lại của cô Tâm không nghe.
Vâng, con có hỏi là khi mà cô nói đến thức ăn ấy, là cô nói đến cái thực phẩm mình ăn vào, hay là cô nói đến cái nghĩa trừu tượng hơn ạ?
Chị Tâm nói bên này không có nghe rồi chị ơi à.
I think because she doesn't hear what I say, so xin nhờ mấy bạn phiên dịch dịch hộ.
Vật thực á, vật thực, thức ăn á chị, thực phẩm.
Vâng, thì cô muốn hỏi, cô có thể hỏi lại em, con chưa thấy rõ ý bởi vì cô nói nhiều nhiều thứ nên là con không có rõ được là cái trọng tâm của câu hỏi là gì ạ?
Dạ. Đi
Em try.
dạ, đến chính xác vậy.
Yes, so the question was about whether the relation between the food and the object of clinging or attachment. Because they think that the origin of the fact that we go in finding food and all that food or nutrition is started from attachment and from ignorance. So she wants to understand the relationship between the food and the object of the attachment.
So attachment can cling to anything, to what is seen now, to what is heard, to what is tasted, to an idea about what is seen, an idea about what is tasted, cling to anything at all except the Lokuttara Dhammas. So even now, there's no food on the table, but there can be clinging to the thought about the food, clinging to the memory of the taste of lunch earlier. So clinging can cling to anything at all. And when there is clinging, there is ignorance. This doesn't mean that there has to be clinging at every moment when one's eating. Even the Buddha and the Arahats eat food, eat what is given to maintain life. So it doesn't mean there has to be clinging at each moment. So as we read what the eating should be just for maintaining life and not for attachment, but for most of us, there's a lot of clinging to the taste or the thought about food. Some people spend a lot of time thinking about food because of clinging, but not just for food, clinging to what is seen now, clinging to what is heard, clinging to bodily comfort, clinging all day from when we wake up to when we go to sleep, to different sense objects and memories and ideas about them, clinging to pleasant feeling, when everything is the right temperature, the right comfort, clinging to feeling pleasant, clinging to hearing the sound we like, non-stop clinging because of ignorance and the accumulation of clinging.
Or we could say, in general terms, when there is clinging to an object, it's not the object that causes the clinging. It is the accumulated tendency for liking that object. And that is the main condition for the clinging to arise. Or
While clinging has not been eradicated, it will always find an object to cling to. If it's not the taste or the food, it will be another object for sure.
And as Sarah has mentioned, the enlightened being, including the Arahat, goes on experiencing the same objects as before enlightenment. Maybe not exactly the same, but generally the same kind of objects. But for the Arahat, there are no more accumulated tendencies for liking, for any akusala citta to arise, for liking the object, and so there's no clinging.
Dạ. Thì lúc nãy ông John có nói là dính mắc vào đối tượng. Mình thì do vô minh thì dính mắc vào đối tượng, chứ không phải đối tượng tạo ra sự dính mắc mà. Thì con không rõ cái ý này, thì mong ông giải thích thêm mà.
Just now you said that the clinging to the object happens not because of the object, but because of the tendency of attachment. So she'd like you to elaborate more on this point.
Well, obviously, a pleasant object is one condition for attachment to arise, because most of one's attachment is to pleasant objects. And this is the principle behind those who wish to develop concentration and calm to the extent where there are no more sensed or experiences. They have the idea that it is the object which mainly conditions the clinging, or the akusala citta. But as we know, jhana is not the same as enlightenment. And it is only the development of insight leading to enlightenment which can eradicate the underlying tendency to cling. So the person who attains jhana, even though there is no clinging temporarily for a while, the underlying tendency has not been eradicated. And it will arise again later in the same life or in a future life, because it has been accumulated and it remains accumulated as before the jhana. I don't know if that answers your question.
Is there attachment now?
Dạ có ạ.
Yes.
Yes. As soon as there's seeing or hearing, touching, attachment arises almost instantly, just even in the same sense store process. So it's daily life. If there's wishing to have less attachment, just more attachment. So better to just begin to understand it when it appears. More useful than trying or wishing to have less, or thinking that one should eat in a different way or have less attachment towards food, because what about to what is seen or heard even now? But we can also be reminded, for example, when we read the Vinaya or the texts about the purpose of eating and not overeating and being contentment with whatever one is given to eat. So these can be useful reminders, but attachment is here and now.
I think there might be some confusion somewhere when she was asking her first question about food, because we also hear about the mental food and, the food for the samsara. So I think that maybe was the confusion.
So how many kinds of nutriment are there and what are they? There is the physical nutriment, the nutritive essence, the physical food, but also the three kinds of nama food. Pasa, first of all, because without pasa, there cannot be the contacting or experience of any object. So pasa is nutriment for each moment of experience. And chitta arises at every moment, the leader in experiencing. Without chitta, no experience at all, no seeing, no hearing, no tasting, no thinking. So chitta is nutriment also, and chaitana arises at each moment, coordinates the chitta and the chaitasikas, and when it's kusala or akusala, it wills in a wholesome or unwholesome way. When we're talking about paticca samuppada, then in this context, the chitta just refers to the patisandhi chitta, the birth consciousness, and the vipaka chitta, and the chaitana just to the kusala and akusala chaitana, that will, the good or bad deeds. But in terms of the patana, the nature of conditions, any pasa, any chitta, any chaita is nutriment. So different kinds of rupa nutriment and nama nutriment. I don't know if this is what she's asking about.
Yeah, perhaps you could ask her to clarify what her question is referring to.
I think that maybe she was not clear herself about that. So that's why in her question that's the confusion already.
Perhaps sometimes we may hear about nutriment and we always just think about food, but forget there are other kinds of nutriment that the Buddha referred to. So it can be a little confusing.
Dạ. Có chưa nghe được?
Khó quá, tôi cứ để Thanh nghe lại sau và hỏi chị Tâm Mạch thêm à. Nhưng rất cảm ơn bà Sarah đã nói thêm về những cái chi tiết này ạ.
Tức là khi mà
Có
nói
gì chị Tâm Mạch giúp.
các loại thức ăn là cô nghe thấy khó đúng không ạ? Không có thấy khó chỗ nào cô cứ hỏi thì bà có thể trả lời giúp luôn bây giờ ạ. I think she said that it's a very difficult topic and she listen again to have more understanding. I think it's difficult for everyone, the topic of food, ahara.
Because we're so used to thinking of food as just that which we eat. What about even the nutriment within the body? So we just think about the conventional idea of food, not about the physical nutriment in every group of rupas and inside the body. And we don't think about the mental nutriment, such as the pasa now, contacting the object. So whatever topic it is, it's always deeper and more subtle than we're used to thinking. Perhaps Sujan would like to add more as well.
I'd like to know what is the easy topic. Is there easy topic?
Dạ không có cái chủ đề. Dạ không có chủ đề nào là dễ.
There's no easy topic, Ajahn.
All are so subtle. That's why we learn to understand the subtlety, the depth of what is there is not as it appears, deeply down to the truth. It is just a moment and then gone. But what appears is just the nimitta of what is there, arising and falling away, conditions such and such, rupa and nama. Seems like they are there for a long time. But in truth, nothing lasts at all. We learn to understand what is there little by little, because what we have talked about are in daily life, doubt and attachment and aversion, so on and on. But it's not known as just a conditioned moment, reality arising and falling away. Not so big as long as there are conditions for whatever arises, it arises just like now. So we learn to understand one reality at a time, otherwise they are all mixed up. For example, at moment of attachment, is there doubt? See, we talk about doubt, we talk about attachment, aversion, but at moment of attachment, is there doubt? Daily life, unknown, but can be known by hearing, considering, understanding that that's why they cannot be taken for someone or something at all. Just a moment and then gone. So the question is, at moment of attachment, is there doubt?
Dạ có ạ.
He said yes.
Impossible. Impossible. They cannot arise together. If there's doubt, can there be attachment to that?
Dạ không, nhưng mà khoảnh khắc sau thì lại có hoài nghi sinh khởi.
She said not at the same moment.
That's it. Never arise together. At moment of anger, is there doubt?
Dạ không ạ.
So cannot.
At moment of kusala, is there doubt?
Không rồi.
No.
At moment of seeing, is there doubt?
Không biết ạ. Vô minh thì
ở khoảnh khắc thấy mà cô. Ở khoảnh khắc thấy thì có hoài nghi không ạ? Khoảnh khắc thấy mà.
thấy đó.
She says she doesn't know.
Không thấy.
Is it easy topic?
Dạ, nó vô cùng khó.
Extremely difficult, Ajahn.
But it can be considered to understand that each reality cannot be the other reality at all. Just one characteristic, one reality. But what can arise together and what cannot arise together. Just to develop another kind of thinking, a little more careful. So at moment of no understanding,
Có đang nói không chị?
what's the answer? What did she say?
We can't hear Dhamma.
Yeah, I think she's just asked about whether there was any translation going on at that moment.
So what is the question again?
Cô Thanh ơi, cô có hỏi thêm điều gì không ạ? Tại vừa rồi cô có nói là cô có một câu hỏi, cô có câu hỏi nào không?
Bạn Tâm nhỏ hay cô Tâm Bạch nói bên cô Thanh không nghe đâu.
Đang nghe đó chị, mà bà còn nói nữa không?
Bây giờ bà vẫn đang nói đấy cô. I think she was thinking about why there's no doubt at the moment of seeing.
At moment of what? Of seeing?
Your question was, is there doubt at the moment of seeing? So she was thinking about it.
So at the moment of seeing, how many Chaitasikas arise with seeing? And what are the Chaitasikas?
Dạ, nó có ít nhất 7 tâm sở biến hành nó đi cùng à.
She said at least
Dạ,
7.
chỉ có 7.
But now she said only 7.
Only 7. And can any akusala Chaitasikas arise at the moment of seeing? Those 7 Chaitasikas, do they include any akusala Chaitasikas?
Dạ chưa.
Chưa hay là không ạ? No, she said no.
Because it's just a moment of vipaka. It's a result, chitta. So it's accompanied by other vipaka chaitasikas at that moment. So they don't include akusala chaitasikas. So no attachment, no ignorance, no aversion, no doubt at the moment of seeing. later in the idle process, when akusala chittas arise, if it is ignorance that arises, not attachment, not aversion, just ignorance, then it may arise with doubt. So doubt only arises with ignorance, not with seeing, not with attachment, not with aversion, not with hearing, not with kusala, only at moments of ignorance. Ignorance with doubt.
And also at the moment of seeing consciousness, the seeing consciousness directly experiences the visible object. So there wouldn't be any room for doubt at that moment. Put it another way, there's nothing to be thought about, or no room for any possibility of anything other than what is actually happening at that moment. Consciousness directly experiencing the visible object that has impinged on the eye base.
John, so that leads me to wonder that the moment of doubt, what is the object of doubt? Because, for example, we think now about, what is the object of doubt? So that it's like a concept, something like that.
It's doubt about something to do with the true nature of things.
But that the object of thinking at that moment is the concept of the reality, of the concept, like just whether it's doubt or whether it's that.
Well, it would have to be, I've just following on from what I was saying about in the moment of sense or experiencing, there's no room for any doubt. So it would have to be mind or, as far as I understand it.
Yes, but it's like, it's interesting to think about what is the object of doubt at this very moment. But there's doubt now.
Whether it is seeing now, or whether it is hearing now, whether it is doubt. So it's the idea of seeing, the idea of doubt. If there's no thinking about seeing, no doubt about it. If there's no thinking about sound, no doubt about it.
I don't know whether doubt about whether a mental state is kusala or akusala would be included. But anyway, it'd be doubt about something that has been experienced or mental states that have arisen.
Wondering whether it's kusala or akusala. Is that the moment of doubt?
Here and now, wondering whether it's kusala or akusala at this moment, wondering if it's doubt now. That's doubt when it appears and can be understood here and now.
Well, I think like all these things, that can only be answered when the characteristic of doubt is known. But just giving some broad examples.
lot of conditions for doubt now.
And that's the only way it can be known, when it appears now. That's how it can be understood. So instead of being an obstacle, when it's the object of understanding, it can be condition for that understanding.
When the text says about doubt about the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, it is kind of like shorthands, right? Because just thinking about doubting about the Sangha, for example, what would be doubting about the Sangha? Like whether is there anyone enlightened?
I think if there's doubt about the truth now, doubt about reality, there is doubt about the understanding of the truth, doubt about what or who or how it has been understood. And it's also doubt about what the Buddha taught. So it all comes back to the doubt about what is real now, what is the truth now. As Ajahn often says, or as the Buddha said, he who sees the Dhamma sees me. So if there's no understanding of Dhamma, there's no understanding of what is Buddha, no understanding of what is Sangha. So doubt about the truth is also doubt about Buddha and Sangha.
I think to answer that question, we'd need to ask the question, what is understanding of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha? What is, and if one knows what that is, then doubt is wavering on that point, on any of those points, not being sure about. And as we know, Sangha refers to those beings who have become enlightened.
The Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha India. The Buddha, Dhamma. Anh Tung có câu hỏi ạ, mời anh.
Dạ. Cô Tâm nghe chưa ạ? Dạ. Cho con hỏi rằng là cái mà hoài nghi mà được biết như được hồi nãy giờ giải thích đó, thì là nó là một cái tính chất thật, nhưng mà cái hoài nghi mà mình nói, mà mình đang diễn tả về, ví dụ như mình nghi ngờ rằng cái điều này đúng là sai á, thì có phải là khái niệm không ạ? Và cái sự hoài nghi mà giống như hồi nãy giờ được giải thích đó, là cái bản chất thật, thực sự ra thì nó vẫn chưa được biết, đúng không ạ?
Ý của anh là những cái thắc mắc ở trong cuộc sống, ví dụ là không biết là nên làm điều này hay điều kia, hay là với cả cái hoài nghi mà mình nói đến nó có khác nhau không, đúng không ạ? Ý của anh thế không ạ?
Bạn Tâm nhỏ có thể giúp đỡ cho Tung cái đoạn này. Tung không nghe cô Tâm.
Vâng, em đang hỏi anh. Em đang hỏi anh.
Dạ.
So
Tại vì cái thực tại hoài nghi hình như là chưa biết đó thưa cô Tâm.
he said that because in our daily life we also have many moments wondering, like wondering whether we should do this or that, whether this is wrong or right. And just now we hear about the moments of doubting about realities, this and that. But it seems to be similar. And does that mean that because we don't really know about the reality of doubt, it hasn't appeared to be known?
So is this doubt now? Wondering if it's doubt at this moment or not? Wondering if the wondering is doubt? Is this doubt now? Does it appear? Can it be known now?
Dạ có thể ạ. Dạ có thể.
Can be.
Dạ có thể được biết thôi.
Can be
We're
known.
not sure, when hesitating, maybe, maybe not. It's doubt at this very moment. So it appears and it can be understood here and now. When there's thinking, like when Nujan says, is there searing now? And one wonders, is it or is it not? Or is there doubt now? And one hesitates, not sure. So doubt is there at this very moment. So this is how it's known. Otherwise, we think a long story about it, but at this very moment of not knowing, not being sure, wondering, doubt is here and now.
But I think his point is that because in life we also have many moments of wondering. And it's very similar to wondering now. So, but we are taught that wondering about going left or right, it's not doubt, it's not vichikiccha. So, because it seems to be so similar, he said that maybe because what we think as being doubt, it's not really doubt.
So it's doubt about what is the truth of doubt at this very moment. Not sure, like whether to turn left or right, is that doubt? Okay, it's doubt now. Doubt that can be known, different from the moment of when driving and whether to follow this sign or that sign. It's different, a different kind of doubt. But the doubt now about whether it really is doubt, this is doubt. So it's always at this moment. And more understanding of the characteristic of doubt, less doubt about whether it is in this situation or that situation. Because when it appears, it can be known. It has its characteristic of not understanding, of wavering about it. I think we've just got a couple of minutes, so I don't know if Jan would like to just add anything at the end before we finish.
That's why what one heard about can be considered. For example, doubt. When doubt is there, no understanding of doubt as it's just real. It's a reality different from attachment and aversion. And when we learn about the process after the Bodhapana through the 5 doorways, can there be akusala moment? Any kind? Lobha, dosa, moha. And what arises with moha? What arises with lobha and dosa by conditions, but each is different. That's why we learn to understand one reality at a time that is real, and when it's known that it arises when of what object, there can be the precise understanding that it cannot be changed real. For example, can lobha arise in the 5 door processes? See, and can attachment or aversion or ignorance arise. And when it's not just ignorance, doubt is there, it's known. Like when attachment is known, that it is attached to the object. So when doubt is there, it's doubt about the truth of the object. What arises falls away so very rapidly. That's why it cannot be known as it is at all. That's why the enlightenment of the Buddha just enlightened the truth of every reality as it is. Doubt is doubt. Ignorance is not doubt, but it is ignorance, no understanding. So now they see no attention, no doubt at all, but ignorance is there because after seeing, the process goes on until Javana and it's thereby ignorant. Because doubt is not there appearing. But when there is doubt at that moment, who can change the characteristic of doubt to be only ignorant? That's why we learn to understand what is there in life, not just the word, but the moment is there. That's why all Dhammas are so very subtle, but we learn to understand each different one, to understand that each is conditioned reality, just arises and falls away instantly, little by little, that's all. So we follow the teachings of the Buddha, even a moment of seeing, and the other moments arising, cannot see. So at moment of doubt, it is not moment of seeing. Little by little, understand that life is so short, just in a moment, different ones by conditions, and learn to understand the nature of it. It's there to be known, not to try to find out what name or what word for it, like whether it is attachment with mana and so on, or ignorance with doubt or without doubt and so on. When it's with doubt, doubt is there. So it's known as it's different from ignorance without doubt. We can talk about it next time, I think. สวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you อาจารย์
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับท่านอาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
Swadika, Tanajan. Thank you so much, Chan.